All right, I got one more to let in here. Okay, so we're recording. My name is Wendy Fringer, and I am the Director of Pre-College Programs here at the University of Mississippi. You're all here tonight to learn about summer college, which is a gigantic portfolio of programs. There are a lot of things included in summer college. So I'm going to try to keep this brief with just kind of a high-level overview of some of what we do here, what some of your options might be this summer for studying with us, how the process works for admissions. And then we can get into the details afterwards with the question and answer, because I don't know who's here tonight and which of the programs most interest you. So I'm not going to go too deep down any one path until we get to that questions space. Okay. Just a few things, just sort of housekeeping issues. I mentioned I'm recording. But if you have questions as we're going in the middle of things, don't wait till the end to ask. Feel free to just drop them in the chat. In a minute, I'm going to introduce my colleague, Ari Lugo. She will be watching the chat. So even though I may not see it while I'm talking, either she'll write a response in the chat to you, or we can respond verbally at the end if it's something that's a little bit more complicated. So don't hesitate. Don't wait till the end. You got something on your mind, go ahead and ask it. Just do it in the chat, please. Ask that everybody remains muted while I'm talking, just so we don't have any kind of confusion. And again, camera is welcome to be on, but if you're going to do something distracting, like take us to your cheer practice, maybe stay camera off for that reason. Okay, so with that, I think we've got the housekeeping taken care of, and I'll get started. So the University of Mississippi offers a lot of different programs in the summer. Summer college is just one piece of that. We offer like week-long summer immersion camps and programs where students can just deep dive for a week and then go off on vacation or whatever else they have planned. We have day camps. We have a bridge program for incoming freshmen that we run as well. And then of course, year-round, we have dual credit. So we do a lot of different kinds of things. Summer college is unique in that it combines many different elements from the other programs. Summer college is an opportunity to earn college credit here on campus, but you're living on campus while you're doing it. So that makes it a little different from like our dual credit programs year round, where students just kind of take class either online or here, and then they go home at night. So let me just talk a little bit about what it actually is. So for this summer, summer college students will live on campus, typically for 1 month. We do have students who stay all summer long. They're here with June session and July. If that's your thing, we love it. In fact, half the time you feel by the end like you're part of the team, like you work here, like you're a student here already. So we love that. But most students do it either in June or July for just 1 month. You take 2 college classes in most tracks. I'll speak about that in a minute, but most of the time you'll take 2 college classes, earning 6 college credits. These are credits that go on your permanent college transcript. So whether you apply to Ole Miss or you go somewhere else, those are classes that you take with you. So a lot of students enjoy that because they can take something like political science and something like psychology, whatever, that they can then use at any college that they attend. Parents, if you're listening, I do want you to know this. I know this as a parent and as a higher ed professional. It is great when these classes travel, and they usually do. But a trend I'm seeing increasingly is schools are not accepting them outside of like the state. So if you travel across state lines, and there's reasons for that. A lot of schools really prefer that students take their particular version of biology or their particular version of psychology, just because these classes are intended to sequence in their curriculum. So I add that little asterisk beside things. These classes will transfer anywhere in Mississippi and many, many places in the US, but increasingly a trend across the United States is that if you take college classes while you're in high school, that's awesome, looks great, people are impressed by it when you apply to college, but they don't always transfer quite as easily as they did even 5 years ago. So I just throw that out there because parents especially have that question. I had that question as a parent myself, and I just want to give you that tip. But you take 6 college credits and they do go on your transcript that'll follow you wherever you go, which is a great thing. When you decide what classes to take with summer college, we keep it confined to a fairly limited list of classes. This is because we want our students to have the very best experience that they can. When we start this journey in the fall, I reach out to departments and across campus and I tell them, hey, we're going to have high school students in these classes. Please make sure that, these are, your very best professors who are really going to be thoughtful about working with high school students that want to work with them. Because while you're taking these classes with other college students, you're not just usually in a section of only high school. We want to make sure that it's only a month that you have it. We want it to be a really high quality experience because we know it's a compressed time frame. So these are fantastic classes usually, and our faculty and departments really work closely with us in making sure that we develop them, and that in fact we usually go beyond class, and I'll speak about that in a minute. So these classes we have in summer college are specially picked because they're great, but also because the faculty and the departments like to do extra things with our students after hours, which is another benefit to summer college. So then you take these classes, you can either choose a specialty track. I've used that term already a couple of times. Tracks can be organized around a discipline, like the business track. So that's a specific major. You can be a business major, and the business track is organized to introduce you to the majors within the School of Business. So we have that option. Some tracks though are a little bit more general, like the pre-health track. You might come out of that with a number of different kinds of majors. In fact, some of the pre-health students end up English majors or philosophy majors, but they share in common an interest in medicine and medical professions, right? And so the pre-health track is really geared toward helping students prepare to make those sort of disciplinary decisions about where to go in medicine, and also to give them some of the fundamental courses they're going to need to be strong in skills like chemistry and math. So there's various tracks. Another thing you might do is just go to summer college and decide, I want to build my own track. I'm just going to take classes I like, that I want. And that's perfectly fine as well. So these are sort of two flavors of summer college, either the tracks that are built around academic and career pathways, or to build your own and you pick the classes you want to take. And I'll show you what your options are in a minute. Another big piece of summer college, though, is about getting to know university life. And honestly, that's probably the part that most students want and value the most. That means learning to live in a residence hall and get up on time. Like no one's going to wake you up here. We're not your parents. We're not going to go, hey, where are you? You get yourself up on time, get to class. To eat on a meal plan and move across campus freely. No one's chaperoning you on campus. Off campus, a different story. Don't leave the campus without us. But on campus, you move around freely, do what you need to do, take care of yourself. We have this wonderful co-curriculum that I'll ask Ari Lugo, who's on the call, to speak about in just a moment. But we have a co-curriculum that's really designed after class hours and on the weekends to help you develop holistically as a person, whether that means learning time management skills for college, whether that means learning about really cool centers for research and professional development on campus that you might not be aware of. We have, for example, centers for innovation and entrepreneurship, the Center for Manufacturing Excellence. We have the Center for, the Center for Practical Ethics. We have all these, the Institute for Intelligence Studies and Security Studies, all these cool niche things that are available to you on a college campus. And co-curricula is really designed to help students explore those things on campuses. Ours is specifically tied to the University of Mississippi. So you'll get to know sort of what's behind all these really cool building doors that you might not explore on your own. And we'll also take you through things like, health and wellness and other kinds of aspects of college life. So the co-curriculum is a kind of holistic thing that complements our academic work. And then on top of that, we really work to make sure that you connect socially while you're here. A lot of our students leave summer college with lifelong friends, people they're going to be roommates with in college. And we do that through a variety of like social events and that kind of programming. I'm going to pause briefly here before I move on to talk more about our academics, just to let Ari speak a little bit about our student life, because she's really the master behind the magic of our student life piece in summer college.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ari, and when they mentioned about the co-curriculum, it's so we try to mimic what you're going to experience during college. So we divide our days into different types of activities. Some days you will have academic activities, where you have the chance to talk to professors on campus, where you will have the chance to visit places on campus, or we will have special speakers. And the sessions are oriented for you to get to know more about academic part, but also an opportunity for you to develop some skills that you will need when you get here to college. So we like to start early. But some other activities are designed for you to have fun, to connect with other people, to show what you know already, and try to encourage other students in the program to, I don't know, to, for example, if you know how to knit, for example, you want to create your own group for knitting. So that's an opportunity that you have. Whatever your interest is, you can share it with other students. So most of the activities that we have, they are built for you to start thinking about those things that you need and those skills that you will need that will get you through college and will give you the a successful experience. So we based all our co-curriculum in different pillars. As I mentioned before, academic, we have the social, we have volunteering, we have fun and entertaining, and we also have wellness and physical wellness and mental wellness. So every different day you're involved in something completely different. All our students are grouped into what we call them communities, and you are guided and led by two college students. They could be undergraduate or graduate students, so they are your leaders for the summer. So you get to do a lot of activities within your own community, or also with members of the rest of the communities. Do you have something about, are you going to mention something about living on campus? Like how they are distributed in
If you want to go ahead and
Warren?
hit that, go for it. Or Ari, that's
Okay. All right. So you might be thinking where you're going to live and how that living situation is going to look like. So as a regular college student, you're going to be assigned a roommate, and you will be placed in a double occupancy room. And you're just going to have the roommate as if you were as an undergraduate student. There are some amenities where you're going to live. You have your own bathroom inside, you have your own mini fridge, and you have kitchens on the floor, so you have the chance to do popcorn or things like that. But this living situation resembles a lot of what you're going to be living during your first year in college. I don't know if I'm missing anything.
That's perfect. We do a much longer version of this and much more thorough as a virtual orientation for students right before they arrive. So I think we both always find ourselves playing that track in our heads. We're trying to restrain ourselves and not go full force on this for you. But that's a nice overview that gives you an idea of what your life might be like outside of class. And I know that's frequently what students want to know about. And before anybody asks, yes, you can do laundry in the residence halls. That's also a question we get a lot about. I don't know why everybody's really excited about keeping their clothes clean, but I think it's great that they are. As a summer college student, you also have access to the campus library, the campus recreation centers, and you'll see some pictures from those things probably later on. So here are the academic options for this summer. This year in June session, we have Building Community in the Mississippi Delta, which is really designed for students who are Mississippi students who live in or near the Delta and really want to delve into understanding that space, its history, its unique cultural qualities, all kinds of cool things. And we have our sociology department in the lead on that, as well as a class in community engaged leadership. And this is really a good opportunity for students who want to do kind of some hands-on, apply what I'm learning in the classroom in the context of the community experience, because it's they take field trips and do that kind of thing. They're not just in class. Head Start is for students who are interested in education careers. So this might be future teachers, but also school psychologists, coaches, folks who want to be administrators, principals, or maybe students who are just thinking about doing a minor in education and want to experience what that would be like. Head Start, again, is a really fantastic program, very hands-on, lots of extra outside of class activities that they like to do. Explore the Arts is for students who want to explore the arts, as it suggests. You may not want to commit to one just yet. I know a lot of students who are artistic, you know, they engage in vocal performance, but they also love to draw. That's great. Explore the Arts is there for you. Students in Explore the Arts track pick one area of specialty, which is either visual arts, musical performance, that can be vocal or instrumental, theater or film. So one of those areas of specialty, and then they take another class in an area of interest to them in the arts. So there is a general class where they can that's really geared at producing a final project in one of the arts, or they could take an art in another class, like, or in another subject. So maybe you do, you know, your vocal performance class because you're a music person, but you also want to take an art history class. You can do that and explore the arts. Pre-health, I mentioned before, those students are going to take some classes that are core skills for those in the health professions, but they will also get some outside of class exposure to different career pathways and cool skills that they might be interested in learning. Pre-law speaks for itself. You take 2 classes in majors that are common among law students to kind of explore what it might be like to be in those majors. And then you'll meet with some of our folks in the law school, as well as our advising faculty here on campus, and learn a little bit more about what it takes to prepare for a career in law as early as being an undergraduate. Rebel Research and Arise, both of these programs are not going to be your typical 6 credit hour courses. Instead, what you're doing is working in labs all day. And so these partner students with mentors who are faculty members and graduate students here at the university, and they cover a wide range. So I'm not going to go into depth on those tonight, but we will have a meeting later this month to talk in more depth about those. But everything from chemistry, bioengineering, zoology. I mean, we have a lot of different opportunities in these areas. And then finally, there's the Build Your Own, which I mentioned. Mix and match the classes that work for you. In July, the business track, this is the first time we've ever offered it. Students will take Business for a Better World, which is a foundational class in our business school that introduces students to the ways in which business plays a role in leading our society, leading on cultural issues, leading on economic issues, really thinking about how business is a tool for creating a better society for us all across multiple dimensions. Foundational class will also introduce students to the many different potential specialties and majors within business. Rebel Research and Arise is again offered in July. And then we have these 2 language institutes. This is honestly the biggest piece of what we do in July in summer college, either Arabic or Chinese, Chinese being the bigger program. And these are selective programs. I should mention that numerous of these programs are selective. So I'll talk about applications in a minute, but Head Start, Explore the Arts, Rebel Research, and the language institutes are all selective. And if you're interested in the language, by the way, you don't have to have experience in the language. You can apply as a novice. That is just fine. And they take a certain number of novices every year. And then a lot of times we see them return the year following. These are fantastic programs that go beyond language. They really focus on culture and also on career opportunities in these areas. The picture you see here too, by the way, is Bruce Livingston. He is a world-renowned performer, and he happens to be from Mississippi. He's faculty here. He teaches here. My daughter took a class with him, and every summer he performs a private concert just for our Explore the Arts students. And sometimes summer college gets to come along too. He's just a magnificent educator as well as performer. And so you'll see he's just one example of the special things that happen in summer college. When I talk about partnership with our departments, that's what I'm talking about. So how do you know if you can be in summer college? You have to be either an 11th grade student or a rising senior. That's important. Oh, I'm sorry. Or a 10th, yeah, sorry. I need to change some text on this screen. It's a little confusing. For summer college, you can be a current 10th or 11th grade student, okay? Which means next year you'll be in 11th or 12th grade. And you have to be in good standing, okay? And that can be in any school here in Mississippi or anywhere else, public, private, doesn't matter. You have to have a GPA of 3.0 or higher. And all students have to submit a school approval form. This is just a state requirement that has to be signed by your principal and guidance counselor. We can't admit you unless we have the evidence of these things, okay? Application deadlines are up here, and these dates for the sessions that you see listed include, that's the move-in date. That first date is the move-in date that you see listed here. So that's just basic levels of requirements. As I said, some programs are selective and they will ask for more things. Cost is always a question that we're asked about. Our university is incredibly generous. That's part of why I came to work here back in 2018. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen anything quite like this. For our summer college students, they scholarship tuition completely. That means you don't pay anything for your classes, whether you're a Mississippi resident or not. You don't pay for the actual class portion of it, which is pretty incredible. The fees that you see listed here include your application fee to the university. I'll talk a bit about that in a second. Registration fee with our programs, the cost of the program, like supervision, right? We have to pay people to stay in the residence halls, make sure you're safe. We have to provide cool catered meals and things, your housing, your meals, and all that. So that's what your costs will be. We always suggest that you plan on bringing some spending money as well. Students love to order out. They love to go for trips around Oxford, and we do provide vans and bus trips and stuff to different places. So you'll want to bring spending money too. But that's a snapshot of costs. Now, I'm going to speak about financial aid here in a second, because some of you may have looked at that and said, oh, well, that's a lot, not for the summer. But I will talk about financial aid in just one more minute. If you have looked at the eligibility requirements and you think, I definitely qualify, the way to do that is you press the button on our website. It says start here or some version of that, and you'll start an application. What that basically does is initiate an inquiry form with us so that we get to know you a little bit. Our admissions officer, Kathy Thompson, she'll take a look at what you tell us about your GPA, et cetera, your grade level, and just make a basic determination. Do you qualify to be a dual credit student? If you do, she'll go ahead and move you on into the system, and she'll assign you a checklist. I'll show you what that looks like in case you haven't seen it yet in just 1 second as we conclude the presentation. Once you get into your application, you'll see there's a checklist of all the things you need to do. If you don't complete the things on the checklist, we can't move you forward in the process. So it's really, really important that you pay attention to it, and that if you don't understand, you ask questions. One of the parts that's pretty tricky for students to understand sometimes is you are applying to us because it's our program. Summer college is kind of special, but you also have to do a separate application to the university itself. We don't have the power, much as I would love it, to say you can be admitted as a dual credit student. Only our admissions office has that power. So you will complete, and I know it seems redundant and tedious, but you have to do an application with us and you do an application with them as well. That is all in your checklist. It shows you even a video of how to do that application, how to answer the questions in it. So definitely watch the video. It'll guide you through. And if you have questions, again, we're here to help you. But you will submit that university application, and then we will, because you have given us your school approval form and your high school transcript, we will then send that to admissions and make sure they know you're special. Okay, so they pay attention to your application. They process it knowing you're a dual credit student, not somebody who's trying to apply to the university before you're ready to, right? So we help with that process. And then once you're admitted, then we recommend that you go ahead and apply to us for financial aid. We have a lot of different financial aid awards. Some of them are based on just like an ACT score. So we encourage you to share that with us. Some of them are based on things like where you live. or, you know, whether, how much, you know, need your family has, or maybe you chose a program like, Ed Start or like, Explore the Arts that has a bit of financial aid just built in that you can maybe get access to. It's just a pool just for those students. So there's a lot of financial aid available. And I would encourage you to just go ahead, complete the financial aid form so you can be considered for it. And we will consider you for all possible sources of aid. Um, most of the students who do the Rebel Research and Arise labs pay nothing. Those are fully scholarshiped in most cases. So I'm just putting out there that there's a lot out there. Don't dismiss doing this just because you think it doesn't fit into your financial plans for the summer. All right, so let me just change my share for a minute here and show you a little bit of what that application looks like. All right. You're gonna see my guilty secret of how many tabs I keep open during the day. That's a shame, isn't it? Okay, so this is Ari's test student here. And if you were to log into our application system, after you've done the inquiry form and you've been assigned a checklist, you've been told, okay, move forward and apply. This is the kind of thing you'll see. So when you come in, you'll see admissions progress. And it'll tell you, you did this part, great. Now you need to complete the program application. You're gonna need to complete a little bit more information about you as a candidate. This is just kind of a generic piece of information. This gives us a little bit more detail. If you're an international student, there's some extra steps. So in other words, you'll have a list here of all the things we want you to give us and provide. This happens to be one for an international student, but if you're a student who's doing something else, you're a domestic student, maybe you're doing Explore the Arts, for example, you'll have a different checklist specific to your program. Once you've got a decision, you'll hear that through us. It'll be posted here, but you'll also get an email. So this is a great sort of general portal where you'll find a lot of the information you're going to need going forward. As you get through and you're accepted, more things will appear for you to submit. For example, you'll let us know about things like roommate preferences, you know, kind of things like that will go in there. So I'm going to go back to the presentation real quick. We will finish the last piece of it. So I want to sum up here by just letting you know summer college is a fantastic experience for those who want to seriously engage academically, who really do want to take college level classes. It is a great experience. It is a great experience for those who want to try living on college campus and really get to know, you know, who am I when I'm not at home? Who am I when I'm not, you know, under the supervision of mom and dad? What happens then? How do I make friends? How do I connect to others? If you think you're ready for that kind of experience, I really encourage you to do it. My own kids have done it, and it was really a huge step forward for them in terms of maturity, and in terms of experience. Every year we hear from kids, I don't want to go back to high school. I really like college. I just want to do this now. So I would encourage you to think about it. If you're a little hesitant about it and you're not sure, am I ready? Please don't hesitate to reach out with us and talk with our staff individually, because they can talk to you a little bit about what you're looking for in the experience and whether this would be right or whether a certain track might be the right fit for you. That's what we're here for. We're here to make sure it's a success and a great experience for you. So with that, I'm going to open it to questions. I see in the chat, we have some questions about, yeah, fees for summer language. Summer language is actually no longer part of Star Talk. Star Talk shifted focus as a program. We do still offer Star Talk, but it is only a 2-week program now. And it's for younger students, so it's not college credit. And it's free. But the Summer Language Institute is a separate dual credit program that grew out of it. It's very much connected to our Chinese flagship, or our Arabic flagship on campus. If you know what those are special government funded programs across the United States. Very few universities have them, and they're really kind of sort of role models for other language programs. They kind of set the stage for how language programs should be run. They do a lot of international study as well. And so our Summer Language Institute students frequently convert into flagship students, either here or at other institutions. They also do NSLE. If you're familiar with that program, a lot of our language students use summer language as a jumping off point to prepare them for NSLE. Other questions? Feel free to type them in the chat. You can also just call out at this point. And what would you like to know? You know, students often want to know things more specifically about living conditions and where on campus and things like that. What's the rec center like? Oh, if I want to do research, do I need to apply to summer college? Yes, so here's the tricky part of this. Most of the summer college checklist you absolutely need to do if you're going to do research. There's some additional pieces, in fact, if you want to do research. So if you entered our system with a strong preference for summer college, then and now you've changed and you're like, I really would rather do Rebel Research or Arise. You just need to email summercollege@olemiss.edu and we will make sure you end up with the right list of things, because there are some additional steps for the research. And sometimes students will tell us, I want to do summer college, I want to do summer language, I want to do research. And so we get like a bunch of things. And so we have to switch you over and make sure you get the right pieces. But sure, just let us know if you want to do research. Yes, Lindsay, that's correct. Yeah, there are fees for the Language Institute. Yep. Other questions? These were good ones. One thing that I think it's helpful to know, while a lot of our programs have a deadline of April 1st for the final application materials to be submitted, some of them admit on a rolling basis. So Rebel Research and Arise, they'll start admitting people as early as March, like interviewing them and selecting them. So I would suggest for programs like that, summer language usually starts a little bit earlier in April and then in the end of March, and then they keep going for a couple of weeks. I would encourage you to finish your applications as soon as possible. Explore the Arts is another example. They will be admitting on a rolling basis. So they're competitive, selective programs, and what they do is they'll pick their priority candidates and then they'll waitlist those who are, you know, probably really great candidates, but maybe, you know, they didn't supply some piece of information that would have helped kind of seal the deal, or maybe they have some questions and they need to go back and ask follow-up questions if they have to. But it's better to be a priority candidate and gets your things in early, and then has a better chance in that selective process. So I urge you to go ahead and do it, and get through it early. Anything else? How selective? So that's a great question. We just finished accepting applications for the Lot Leadership Program. That's why you didn't see it displayed, but that program gets hundreds of applications and only takes 40 students every summer. Rebel Research and Arise are pretty selective. They partly because they like to fully fund most of their students. And so they can only go as far as their funding goes year to year. So it varies how selective it is based on how big their funding pool is. Typically they get like NSF grants and things like that. So it's hard to say. What are the criteria? So for Rebel Research and Arise, typically they're looking at how motivated are you? That's a big one. You can have great science grades and be kind of not that motivated when it comes to, you know, the 5th hour of lab work. They want somebody who's really like, I'm interested, I'm going to ask questions. So they look at motivation. They also look at evidence of achievement in science. And so it varies. You know, some schools have like here in Oxford, we have students who are able to take university science classes very early in life, and that's great. But our folks recognize that in some schools, you know, just taking like the honors science track or being able to take like AP bio or something, that's evidence of strong science interest in those students. So that it's not universal across the board, but they look for, are you doing your best to take science or participate in science clubs or things like that at what's available for you? Because it varies so much community to community. They do take that into connection, demonstrated science interest. The same is true for the arts. Are you demonstrating a strong interest in the arts? Or have you just like scribbled on paper a little bit sometimes on the weekends? You know, they want to see that you really are going to be a dedicated student when you're with them. Those are a couple of factors. So in other words, it's not always your ACT score. It's a lot of times other factors that they pick up through the application process. What else? Other questions? Sometimes students want to know, how will I be matched with a roommate? I mentioned that there's a roommate form that you'll complete once you get admitted. We don't take roommate requests for like, you know, my best friend from my hometown, because we want you to get the college experience. And a lot of times that means learning to live with a stranger. But what we do is we have you fill out a questionnaire, and then our staff looks at compatibility. You know, if you like to go to bed listening to loud music with the lights on, we're not going to pair you with somebody who likes to go to bed with, you know, the quiet in the dark and sleeps by 8 p.m. every night. So we do take that kind of thing into account. And generally it goes really, really well. Now that I've said that, I got to knock on wood or something. But yeah, we will pair you with roommates. Students sometimes, or parents sometimes want to know, how will students be supervised? All of our staff are authorized adults. They have to go through supervision of minors training and background checks. We have staff who live on campus 24 hours a day. Grad students who are senior like level staff managers for our student staff, and then our professional folks are on call 24/7. I live 10 minutes from campus. I'm there if something happens. And students have a curfew every night in the building and then in their rooms. I don't go to bed until I know everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be. We've seen, laid eyes on them. We know they're there. And then they also do, let's see, what else? We have dorms that are locked and restricted just to our folks. So there's nobody in the building that we don't know. So that's just a security question we get. How can we get news on time, date of the future summer research? Okay, so Damien, I'm glad you asked. The researchers are still confirming with me. It'll be either the 20th or the 27th. I'm just waiting on literally one other person to tell me that they can be there. Because on that night, I will do a really quick version of this. But the thing that people really want to hear about is what's going to happen in these different labs. And so each of the researchers is going to talk a little bit about their labs. Arise is different in that Dr. Hom, who manages Arise, he will personally partner you with mentors from across campus. So he kind of takes requests. So he'll speak more broadly about what Arise does and some of the options, but he won't speak to any specific lab. He'll, like I said, he kind of takes what students ask for and then tries to find them a compatible person, because we have a lot of options on campus. But yeah, 20th or 27th and the same time. Anything else? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.